You're about to see who the most elite big man combo is. After the influx of athletic wings and guards that took over the league throughout the 2010s, the power forward and center positions have quietly become nearly the most dominant they've ever been before. From low post beasts to crafty stretch bigs, this is my ranking of the top 10 NBA front courts entering the 2020 season. Quick shout out to Ludwig, who says I forgot Lillard, McCollum, and Nurkic from my big three list, and notes how on any given night in the playoffs, CJ and Dame can put up 30 to 40 a night. Leave your take on tonight's question for next video shout out. Appreciate every answer from the best Hoops Talk community on YouTube. Number 10, Steven Adams and Danilo Gallinari of the OKC Thunder. The toughness of Steven Adams is on clear display with his strength and mauling screens, but it's backed up with one stat. That being that Adams has only missed 25 games in his 6 seasons. The 26-year-old center's entering the prime of his career. He now gets to play with a three-point sniper, the former small forward, now stretch four-man, Danilo Gallinari, who's coming off a career-high 19.8 points per game last season with the Clippers. So OKC's center goes from having Patrick Patterson and Jeremy Grant next to him to a man who's going to draw bigs and defensive traffic in general away from him. Gallo's still 31, and if you give him space and he catches a rhythm, he's still a big-time problem. Inside and out, Gallo and Steven provide a new challenge for defenders, giving the Thunder one of the more dynamic front courts in basketball. Number 9, Clint Capella and PJ Tucker of the Houston Rockets. At the power forward spot, it's become essential in today's space and pace three-point shooting style NBA for that position to be able to stretch out the defense. PJ Tucker defines what the perfect modern-day stretch four-man is supposed to be. In 11 2019 playoff games, he shot over 45% from three-point range and averaged nearly 2 steals a game while being the contending Rockets' best defender. Clint Capella's defensive rating was 4th among centers in 2017-18. Houston gave him a $90 million contract extension, and then this season, his defensive rating tailed off to 18th at the center spot. Being that the Rockets paid him to be a force on the defensive end, he better turn it around this year, but his scoring did improve. Given that and the fact that Tucker has a few more years left in the tank to be a great 3-and-D player, this big man combo ranks 9th. Number 8, Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers. Both members of Indiana's front court are 23 years old and becoming more and more scary for bigs in their conference every season. Sabonis shot nearly 60% from the field, which was 7th in the entire NBA, while putting up an again improved in his 3rd season 14 points per night. Miles Turner just led the league in blocks and averaged a career-high 38% from three-point range while making 1 3 per game, which is a massive luxury of spacing from your center, especially a guy like Miles Turner, who's such a great rim protector. This young duo kept Indiana afloat with their top scorer in Oladipo out last season and led them to the playoffs. With Victor back soon and an impressive playmaker in Malcolm Brogdon joining, Turner and Sabonis have the chance to put Indiana into contention. Number 7, Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic. One of the NBA's most dominant slashers, an athletic beast in Aaron Gordon, seems to always be a candidate for a breakout year. He's about to turn 24, yet he's already helped lead the Magic back to the playoffs for the first time since 2012, and been an extremely capable forward next to their 2019 All-Star center Nikola Vucevic. From his rookie year, Gordon's developed a completely non-existent deep-range shot to a pretty solid 35% mark from 3 in 2018-19. With how it's improved so far, there's no reason to think his long-range shot won't get even better in 2020. If he scores a bit more points per game and the Magic have a high seed in the early season, you could see him join Vucevic in the All-Star game. Number 6, Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. I can't think of a better center to have next to the Greek Freak than the shockingly elusive from long range 7-footer Brook Lopez. If Giannis was playing with a typical post-up center, the paint where he likes to attack over and over would be clogged. Whether Lopez is setting screens for Antetokounmpo and then popping out to the three-point line or just simply spacing out the floor by consistently being outside the arc, Milwaukee's offense is significantly vamped because of Lopez. Brook made the most three-point field goals of any center, with 2.3 made per game. If he had a bit more athleticism and can put it on the floor a bit more, then with Giannis being a part of this front court, it'd be ranked a lot higher. But of course, there's not a single doubt that the 2019 MVP Antetokounmpo's dominance is the primary reason for them being as high as they are. Number 5, Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons. Detroit just signed an old-school 2000 shot creator in Joe Johnson from the Big 3 League, And the Pistons' front court is definitely the most old school, and I guess you could say traditional front court in the NBA. Andre and Blake can beast in the paint, but more prominently on the glass. Fueled by Drummond's league-leading 15.6 boards, this front court combined to average over 23 rebounds per game, which was the most of any starting combo of bigs. Offensively, Blake Griffin made over 2.5 threes per game and averaged 24.5 points per game, both of which were career highs. If Griffin hadn't have had another left knee injury in the playoffs, which resulted in surgery, he and Drummond, you could argue, could be higher on this list. Detroit expects Blake to be back for the regular season, and according to CBS Sports, it's likely the Pistons are going to try and rest him more to keep him fresh for the playoffs if they can secure back-to-back playoff appearances. Number 4, Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. Will the now skinny Dwight Howard make it up to the Lakers in his second tenure with the organization? The first go-around with Steve Nash and Kobe was an absolute disaster, as all three were almost never healthy at once, and even when they were, their egos didn't come close to meshing and they all seemed to hate each other. Good news is Dwight's looking like he's in the best shape of his career this offseason. Let's be real though, regardless of the underwhelming post-up presence and extremely average numbers offensively Howard's probably going to put up, the brow's why this front court is 4th best. AD got granted his trade request. He's got no excuse now, so I think he thrives with LeBron's playmaking and is in the 2020 MVP race. Davis said this summer he prefers the power forward spot. That means he needs a consistent and solid center next to him. I have my doubts about Howard. That's why this front court's at number 4 and not higher. Number 3, Marc Gasol and Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. Marc Gasol just won a gold medal and he's now celebrating his second title of the summer. To get Spain to the gold medal game, he put up a beastly 33 points. Because of his FIBA obligations and the toll that'll take on the 34-year-old 7-foot frame, when he returns to Toronto, he's likely to see more rest than he's used to, at least to start off the season. The young legs of Pascal Siakam can likely carry the scoring load, so it's best for the Raps to keep Gasol fresh for the postseason, because at full health in the right offense, Marc is still capable of being a lethal scorer. He proved that on defense last playoffs, shutting down Vucevic, Embiid, Lopez, then Cousins in the finals. He just carried Spain to a basketball World Cup. And thinking in terms of the NBA, getting his first training camp with the Raptors under his belt after last year's midseason blockbuster, that should help his chemistry with the guys. Pascal Siakam, I've predicted in the past, will be an all-star in the future. If he hasn't proved to you that he's going to be elite for years to come already, I think he'll convince you in massive fashion this upcoming season. Number 2, Al Horford and Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. How much does the 12-year vet, 5-time All-Star, and now $109 million man Al Horford have left in the tank? If we're referring to 2019-20, then I think a lot. Whether he'll earn his $26 million cap hit when he's turning 37 in 2023 is another story. GM Elton Brand's focused on the here and now, though, and Joel Embiid gets the most talented partner up front by far in his career. Horford's played his entire career at center, but he is only 6'10", and he's not a liability guarding the perimeter. Since he's capable of playing power forward on the defensive end, he and Embiid can bring a versatile attack offensively. Al can shoot the 3, which stretches out the floor for Philly. He's an efficient post-up player, especially when he's facing up from 10 to 16 feet, where he shot 53.5% last year. And from 16 feet to the three-point line, he shot 52.3% from the field. Embiid will have a lot more opened up for him with Horford shooting. Joel's established himself as a top center despite the recent setback, so I love this front court, at least for next season. Before the best front court in basketball, honorable mentions to Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jonas Valanciunas of the Memphis Grizzlies, Draymond Green and Willie Cauley-Stein of the Golden State Warriors, Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson of the New York Knicks, Robert Covington and Karl-Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Zach Collins and Hassan Whiteside of the Portland Trail Blazers, and of course either George or Kawhi will play a good amount of power forward minutes. But this list only takes into account teams' power forward and center positions. Now to number 1, which is Nikola Jokic and Paul Millsap of the Denver Nuggets. One of the main reasons the Nuggets have the number 1 front court, in my opinion, is the revenge season Nikola Jokic is about to have. He won't be getting revenge for himself because he carried Denver to the conference semis, and in Game 7, he had 29 points and 13 rebounds against the Portland Trail Blazers. In 4 seasons and since being stolen by the Nuggets at pick number 40 in 2015, Jokic's scoring has increased every year. That aspect of Nikola's game was put under the most pressure it's ever been under last year, and he responded by looking like a man amongst boys against the Blazers bigs by averaging 27 points a night in their 7-game series loss. Paul Millsap's become underrated throughout the years. He put up 17 and 9 a night against Portland, and he's got a valuable amount of playoff experience from his days in Atlanta and Utah. The big shots and crowds don't faze Paul Millsap. The Jokic-Millsap combination also meshes the best of any on this top 10. Jokic is still young, Millsap has another year of shooting and driving in an elite Denver offense before father time diminishes him. If you're new and enjoyed, hit subscribe to join the community. The shoutout question is, which front court would you pick to start a franchise with? Answer carefully. Best answer gets next video shoutout. This was D-Flow, thanks the world for watching. I'll see you next video.